Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I had the Habs picked in last place in the Atlantic Division, and you didn't get upset. You knew what I was saying. And they ended up in last. They're not going to be there this year. Or maybe, it's got to be Buffalo, right? Like, how big of a step forward do they take this year?
Listen, there are so many variables that go into this. I think they have a great core of young players. I think Gordon and Hughes and Marty St. Louis have done a great job. As far as the team and what they're going to do this season, I think a lot of people have them pegged for being really low again in the standings. It's going to depend on health. One, Kirby Dach being that number 2 center in the 2-hole certainly is a big part of this because they really missed him last year. A lot was put on Suzuki, and he stepped up to the plate and really had a good season. But having Dach out really hurt them, Dvorak and Evans, and they're useful players, and they have those roles, but those guys stepping up to a second line role is really you're not gonna be burning down the rinks you go into. So a lot depends on their health, one, like any team. And a lot's going to depend on if they can collectively play better defensively. Now, I know, we know Jacques Lemaire and the trap, and everybody said, they dumb it down hockey. But here's the deal. When I think Marty's come in and he really wants guys to play offense, all right? And a lot of times to create offense at times, you have to take a lot of risk. And I think being such a young team in doing that, they've let themselves vulnerable in a lot of situations. And I don't know, I think they had 15 games or maybe a few more than 15 where they got scored on 5 times or more. You're not gonna be a serious contender to get in the playoffs if you're doing that.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was born to broadcast. So the World Juniors, 2012, I'm calling the national radio feed. I'm sitting there in the press box of the Saddle Dome like this, playing Pac-Man on my phone. Ray Ferraro, he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing Pac-Man on my phone." "I just died." And he goes, "Don't you have game prep to get ready for the game or something?" "No, I know the numbers. I know everything about them. Let's get the game going."
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
That was a fun one. And we got some World Juniors news for you today. I feel like we've been breaking with format all week long, and I feel like you've liked it. Am I right? It's episode number 1402 of Canada's daytime sports talk show. Don't mind me, I'm just cleaning my glasses here. I bought some new ones. Here's how we're breaking with format today. There's no Moose. So fans of Darren DuPont, you might as well just leave now. Moose is driving. He's probably listening or watching right now to the program as we are streaming. I don't think he's got Game Plus TV on in his car. He's driving from Toronto, Ontario, Canada to Ottawa for the World Juniors pre-competition games. Moose is on his way there, and he's actually going to join us live from the nation's capital. Anything else going on in Ottawa of interest? No, we're not going to talk politics here today. But it's just you and me for the... Yeah, we're not going to go down that road. I went down that road, stopped, came back. We do have live guests coming up on the program today. Brien Ray, he is the host of Dallas Stars television broadcasts on Victory TV. They were big winners. No, they lost last night to the Leafs, didn't they, Clark? In retrospect, that was one of the few games that Moose had right in the Bet Regal breakaway bets last night. He had the Leafs to win at Dallas. I took the Stars, but I did beat him overall 3-2. And to be honest, we're going to get to the quick six here in a second. Brian Ray from Dallas Stars TV. Sportsnet's Arash Madash coming up in hour 2. Arash Madani, my longtime friend. We've put him into the long segment of the second hour to give us more time because I feel there's certain guys, and it's kind of like always my buddies, where we never have enough time. And Arash is one of those guys. And also Jim Lang is another one of those guys, right? Oh, we just never have enough time. So we got more time for Arash next hour. Those are the guests. Otherwise, it's just you and me. And for the boys flying the Millennium Falcon, can you hit the quick 6 show horn and we'll get down to business from there.
Yes.
And because it's not just me and Moose here in this segment, I've got far more time for you. So the text line's open, 902-518-3033. Again, write it down, put it on the coffee table. Put it on your fridge. Put it in your phone. 902-518-3033. That's the number to text us here in the studio. I am in the South Florida studio. And we'll tell you about our Christmas plans coming up as it relates to this show, because I'm sure you don't care what I'm doing over the Christmas holidays. And also the streaming chat. We'll get to you in a second with your comments there. Looking for my bell. I have it. Breaking news for the hockey fans. Center Brayden Yager has been named captain of Canada's team for the upcoming World Junior Hockey Championship. Hockey Canada announced the team's leadership group today, with Tanner Molendyke and Calum Ritchie named alternate captains for the tournament that starts Boxing Day in Ottawa. Now, Brayden Yager, he's the guy that I quoted an NHL scout, who is also a very close friend of mine, as saying he is Nathan MacKinnon 2.0. And, of course, all these people dumped on me. I'm kind of getting used to it, but I'm also getting exhausted by it. But whatever. I guess he's not all that, but Brayden Yager, a Winnipeg Jets prospect, has a goal and 3 assists in 2 games since joining the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Via trade on December 2nd. He had 30 points in 21 games with the Moose Jaw Warriors. Before the trade, the forward from Saskatchewan, was a member of Canada's 2024 World Junior team that finished 5th in Gothenburg, Sweden. So that's the leadership team, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's only because I operate one day at a time, as you all know. I haven't really allowed myself to start thinking ahead to the World Juniors. A lot of other people are getting very excited about it. Like, for instance, Moose is driving there today to Ottawa. He's meeting Peter Labardi is there. I think he's actually maybe picking Lou up at the airport, and they're going to games together, and Lou's flying in from Calgary. I will get excited as we get closer to it. That's all. Is that fair? And as far as the Brayden Yager thing goes, he's following every single marker of his career that Nathan MacKinnon did at his age. So you just wait. But overall, just watch the games. Because it doesn't get old finally being proven to be right. Gets tired taking all the crap, but yeah, I'm not going to use the political parallel. I'm not going to go down that road as much as I'm dying to. Okay, so that was the breaking news. You guys want to hit the quick 6 show horn? Would you hit the show horn? And then we'll get into what I was going to talk about.
Hell yes.
This isn't that hard. I mean, I would rather not do this every day on my own, and I don't. I can do it on special occasions. I learned to do it doing sports talk back in the homeland, which, by the way, my phone's going off by a lot of people. Some families, some friends, some acquaintances saying, are you going to be home for the holidays? You coming home for the holiday? I am home for the holidays. Florida, USA, that's home. So no, I won't be there over the Christmas holidays. This is home. I'll be home for the holidays here. Leftovers from the National Hockey League. It's so last night. But I know there's a few of you that want to talk about it. I'm far more interested to talk about tonight's games. But here we go with some one-timers from the leftovers last night. Troy Terry scored a tie-breaking goal with 24 seconds to go, and the Anaheim Ducks rallied late for a 3-2 victory over the NHL-leading Winnipeg Jets. And I got a real bang out of Bruce Boudreau. I always do. He's just so good. He was on NHL radio this morning. As I was working out at LA Fitness, I was listening to him, and he's like, well, the Jets coaching staff should be concerned. They gave up the winning goal with 24 seconds to go. Overall, yeah, and that's why Bruce Boudreau coached 1,000-plus games. I think he won close to 1,000 games. Because coaches, yeah, they'll be upset. But the fans shouldn't. They're still the number 1 team overall in the NHL. If you pick up a copy of the South Florida Tribune today, shameless plug, my columns in there, 10 NHL things, and I have my top 5, bottom 5 teams in the NHL in there. Just stick with me here. What I'm saying is, you Jets fans that are watching in Winnipeg and all across Manitoba, your fans, don't be worried. The coaches can be upset that they took their foot off the gas with 24 seconds to go. That's something that the coaches would be mad about, not the fans. Okay, they're still the number 1 team in the NHL. Mikhail Sergachev scored late in overtime to lift the Utah Hockey Club to a 3-2 victory over the Vancouver Canucks. Nick Robertson scored the go-ahead goal and assisted on another against his older brother's team as the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Dallas Stars 5-3. As I was saying with Moose yesterday, we talked about, said, what is your morning routine? And he is like, I don't really have one. That doesn't surprise me. It's just we as much as we get along, we've been together 6 years, we don't operate the same. I get up and try and do the same things every day. It makes me feel good. He doesn't. He does, I think, different things every day. But my point is, I got up and watched NHL Network this morning, which was really awesome. It's the only place you'd get quality NHL coverage in the United States of America, and this show. But I saw the Robertson's mom. Did you see her in the crowd last night? If you watched the game, she was wearing a Dallas Stars jersey and a Leafs hat. And initially, I was like, well, who is that person? Why is she doing that? I'm like, oh, wait. That's the mom. Okay. Because my dad used to always say, incidentally worked for the Dallas Stars for 26 years. If he saw you wearing a team shirt and another team's hat, he'd say, you're in a fight with yourself. But she wasn't. Her kids are playing. I get it. Matthew Tkachuk scored twice. Sergei Bobrovsky made 26 saves. And the Florida Panthers beat the Minnesota Wild 6-1. Now, that game didn't start till 9:30 last night, and it was on TNT. 9:30 Eastern. I couldn't stay up for it. But it was over early. The Panthers built up a 4-1 lead in the second period. And ironically, of the 2 games I got wrong last night, that's one of them. It was the tail end of the road trip, longest road trip of the year. And the Panthers were playing a top 5 team in the NHL in the Minnesota Wild in Minnie's barn. They should not have won. And Marc-Andre Fleury was in goal for Minnesota. And the Panthers pumped 6 by him. All 6 were on the flower. And, of course, I watched after the game. I saw it this morning, but Aaron Ekblad, the longest-serving Panther, he said, he was asked, what was the impetus? What was the motivation for you guys tonight? He's like, getting home. So you can't figure it out. Things have changed, bro. You're supposed to, lose energy as the road trips go on. Look at the Panthers. They've scored 12 goals in the last 2 games of the road trip. 6-5 win at Edmonton, 6-1 win at Minnesota, and now they're home, and they'll be home on Friday night to the St. Louis Blues, and we'll be in the barn. And can I stop for a second? You can, Rod. It's your show, and you're the only guy. If I could have reached through my phone last night at a guy, he's probably watching right now. Let's just call him Pat. Because the Boca Raton Bowl was on last night. I'll tell you about the results in a second coming up in the sports update. But he writes to me, he goes, why aren't you at the Boca Raton Bowl? Maybe because I didn't want to be, bro. It's like, still limiting myself to one sporting event live a week. Because there's something going on every night. But James Madison, Western Kentucky, played at FAU Stadium just down the road from me last night. It was on ESPN. Why wasn't I there? Because I didn't want to go. Worry about yourself. How about that? You got a sound effect for that?
How about that?
Clark? Just worry about you and your plans. Don't worry about mine.
Hoorah!
And then, to be honest, the grease fire of the night was Patrick Kane scoring the decisive third-period goal, adding a helper as the Detroit Red Wings beat the Philadelphia Flyers 6-4. That was wild because if I have the numbers right-ish, I turned that on TNT, and Detroit's up 5-2 in the third period. And all of a sudden, here comes Philly. Oh, bing, 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 making it a 1-goal game. And Detroit, Philadelphia, although the Flyers aren't a quick 6, original 6 team, they still have that aura, don't they? Or they do to me. And it was a great game last night, and Detroit had to hold on. No lead is safe in the NHL. Maybe they should steal that old CFL marketing slogan. No lead is safe. Ask the Oilers, ask the Detroit Red Wings last night. Now that's 11 minutes. On breaking news, the World Juniors, Braden Yager being named captain of Team Canada's World Junior team. The assistants, Tanner Molendijk and Caleb Ritchie. NHL leftovers from last night. Next hour, we'll get to tonight's games because I'm dying to talk about the Flames and the Senators and preview that game. And that is our poll question today. I should stop for a second and tell you that's our poll question for EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Look up their roster at emjmarketing.com. And then look up Joe. He runs the whole thing. He's my speaker agent. And we'd love to come out and speak and entertain your group, your crowd. Anyways, the poll question is, who's going to make the playoffs? The Ottawa Senators or the Calgary Flames? Because of today, as of today, they're both in a playoff spot. Your options are the Flames, the Senators. Both are going to make it or neither. Spoiler alert, 63% of respondents saying neither team's going to make it. I voted
How
for
about
neither.
that? Hot damn.
You got to understand, Ryan Huska, I've talked about this. We were on the 2012 World Junior team together. He's a longtime friend of mine. He's a Dub guy. I'm a Dub guy. Saw him this summer. He threw out the first pitch at the WCBL League Final. I was there with the Moose Jaw Millers. He was there as the coach of the Flames. We had a talk there. It's not personal that I don't think the Flames will make the playoffs. I hope they understand that. They're overachieving. It's because of him and Craig Conroy, but I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. He's a good guy. I hope that he is there to experience the results of this rebuild. You never know, especially there. But it's quite we'll talk about this later. I could go on about it forever. Just for the Flames fans, Colin Pedersen was on here yesterday saying they have bought in. And he goes, the last few years, they haven't had an identity in Calgary. Well, who was there the last few years? Prior to Husk, Daryl Sutter. And they didn't buy in. Topic for not here. Point 2, place line, Flowery Branch, Georgia. After losing his job as the Atlanta Falcons starting quarterback, Kirk Cousins is promising to support rookie Michael Penix Jr. the rest of the way. Cousins threw 9 interceptions with 1 touchdown in the last 5 games. The switch to Penix comes with the Falcons just 1 game behind Tampa Bay in the NFC South as they prepare to play host to the New York Giants this week. The change wasn't a 1-game decision, but Cousins insists he believes he can still start in the NFL. As a matter of fact, he told reporters he has not forgotten how to play the position. I don't like it. I'll say it again. This is why dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. But I look at the numbers, and I'm not going to discredit Raheem Morris, the coach of the Falcons. I just like Kirk Cousins, but I'm also not too worried. I looked it up. Anybody want to take a wild stab at how much money he's made in his career, Kirk Cousins? I'll tell you, $294 million he has made in his career. What do we got here? Allie in Texarkana writes in. She says, some of us, she's talking about the mom. She goes, she is adorable. The Robertsons. She is kind of cute, isn't she? Oh, yeah. John Ohm showed up on time to say the Winnipeg Jets imploded last night. Jeez. Oh, they didn't win every game. Oh, my God. Fire somebody. Brett Taylor writes in, he says, Jagger is just all around good in so many areas. He's the next Nathan McKinnon. And again, don't take my word for it. Came from an NHL scout. More breaking news on this Thursday. This is exciting stuff that I can get behind. Point 3, Alec Ayamanor is looking to join a select group. The Stanford Cardinals receiver is a finalist for the John Cornish Trophy, presented annually to the top Canadian playing U.S. college football. Ayamanor of Medicine Hat, Alberta, captured the award last year and is looking to join Victoria's Nathan Rourke. Thought he was from Oakville. John Mechie of Brampton, Ontario, as the other 2-time winners. The other finalists announced this morning are Boise State safety Ty Benefield. If his name sounds familiar, it should. It's David's kid. Rutgers linebacker Daryl Djabomi, UNLV defensive back Jet Elid, and Indiana quarterback Curtis Rourke, the younger brother of Nathan Rourke. The John Cornish Trophy winner will be announced on Monday. Cornish of New Westminster, BC, was a standout running back at Kansas who went to have a decorated CFL career with the Calgary Stampeders. before being inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2019. This will be a discussion more for tomorrow. And Clark, remind me, that will be the poll question. Who should be the winner of the John Cornish Trophy for the best Canadian in U.S. college football? I think it'll be Curtis Rourke. Matter of fact, I'm sure it'll be Curtis Rourke. But a hell of a season for Alec Manor. Stanford sucked, but he had a great season. That story's up at rodpeterson.com right now. We're going to take a break and come back. I'll try to get to as many of your comments as I can, but we're rolling. Brien Ray is on the way, and Arash Madani as well. This is the warm-up. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live daily noon to 2 on the best platforms and podcasts, wherever the best podcasts are found.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Daily will probably have a Regina item of note because Hour 1 is brought to you by Culligan Water of Regina. Clear water, clear choice. Filter out the bad and taste the good. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit culliganregina.com. Josh Donnelly has been named to the staff of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And this is no patronage appointment. Those things have been done in the past. Not in this case. Josh Donnelly was a tremendous quarterback with the Regina Rams, was on their coaching staff. He's been named as an offensive assistant to the Saskatchewan Roughriders coaching staff for 2025. You know, it's interesting. Business is changing in all sports. But these coaching staff announcements used to roll January, February, March. They used to go on forever. Now they're all being done before Christmas. I think it's great. It's great for the coaches. It's great for the fans. Let's get a schedule out, okay? And then let's roll. And how do I know? Because I remember in early February of 2014, right around there, here's my role as voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, hosting a talk show, calling the play-by-play, hosting a television show, writing a website, writing for the team's website, trying to be all over the news of that team. And I was reporting who I heard was interviewing for jobs and who was going to get the jobs, but they hadn't announced them yet. And I was at some event. Also representing the team at events. And Coach Corey Chamberlain was there. I think we might have been an Est event. He said, "You're causing a problem for me, Rod." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do my job. Do yours." Point 4, the Denver Broncos can clinch a playoff spot with a road win in their Thursday night football clash with the Los Angeles Chargers tonight. The 9-5 Broncos have won 4 straight and would return to the postseason for the first time since 2015 with a victory in Los Angeles. However, the 8-6 Chargers heavily increased their chances of a playoff berth with a win. I was sitting there thinking about this game tonight. Sean Payton and the Broncos. I just like Sean Payton. I always have. Despite what went down in New Orleans with all the fines and the suspensions and everything. You know, can we move on? I just like Sean Payton as an offensive guy. Played in the CFL as a quarterback with Ottawa. I'm sitting there going, how about Sean Payton for Coach of the Year? And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. What about Jim Harbaugh of the Chargers and the job that he's done? Why are we not hearing more about Jim Harbaugh? It's one thing about Harbaugh, they ran him out of college for whatever reasons. Might have even ran him out of Michigan. I'm not sure. After winning a championship. So he's like, I'll just go to L.A. and lead the Chargers into the playoffs. I like him too. I just like the good guys, you know. So that should be a beauty tonight on Thursday Night Football. Now, here's the thing. For those of you that tuned in late, there's no Moose. He's driving right now. He is on his way to Ottawa for the World Juniors Team Canada pre-tournament games up there. So he's not here today. He's going to join us for a quick flyby tomorrow on a Football Friday. I'm just checking in with the audience. That's the thing. When Moose is here, when he talks, I can go check your comments. But when he's not here, I got to do everything here. Clark and the crew at IKS are doing the important stuff. Taylor writes in. He says, Taylor from Calgary writes in. He says, if the Flames get into the playoffs, that will be our Stanley Cup. It'll just be a monumental occasion for sure. And here's another thing. Ryan Huska should be in contention for Coach of the Year if they get into the playoffs. But that probably won't happen either. Who knows? But I did notice this for Allie and Texarkana. And any Dallas Stars fans that might be watching, have you seen on the social media feeds 29 years ago today, the Dallas Stars and Calgary Flames hooked up in the trade, sending Jerome McGinley to Calgary, Joe Nieuwendyk to the Stars. Obviously, I follow all the Flame. I follow everybody's social media, but the Flame stuff comes up and Flames Nation and all that a lot when I open my phone. So I see this thing about McGinley 29 years ago today, going from the Dallas Stars, who I don't think he ever played a game for Dallas. Did he? He was a long time ago. Forgive me. He was just a young pup. He's just a young pup at the time. Nieuwendyk, on the other hand, was near the end of his career. And what's interesting is, for the Flames, it's saying he would go on to play 1,200 games and have this many points and jerseys in the rafters. Great trade for the Flames. But as a guy who was very closely acquainted to the Dallas Stars at that time, with my dad working for them, they would do that trade again too. So not only did this go down 29 years ago as franchise-altering trade for both teams, it might be the perfect example of the perfect trade amongst teams because you don't need to declare a winner. Calgary would do it again, and Dallas would do it again because Nieuwendyk led them to the Stanley Cup in 1999, along with Brett Hull and all those other guys, but you know what I mean. We always need to declare a winner in trades, and it would be real nice if we could have both teams win. Man, that would be nice. Terry writes in from Calgary. Terry the lawyer. He says, I love the World Juniors. Was a team host with Team Latvia in 2012 and lived with the team and Ted Nolan. Almost 24/7 for 3 weeks. Great fun. Those World Juniors, if you were, I don't know if you were watching, Terry, earlier when I said Braden Yager's been named the captain for Canada today and Tanner Molendyk and Calum Ritchie, the assistants. I'm starting to get excited for the tournament. There's just so much other things going on in my world and your world, and which, by the way, thank you to everybody who's tuned in. I really appreciate that because in a wild time in society, and especially even in sports, to come here every day, I really appreciate you doing that because there are a lot of options. Randy in Winnipeg writes in and he says, I will be watching the Chargers game. Big game tonight. Oh, yeah. Was it last week or it was last week, the terrible game, the 12-6 game, the 49ers and the Rams. John Gruden, who has been blackballed from the NFL. As much as it sucks, he has. So he's got a show now in Barstool, Clark, does he not now or something? He's got a show somewhere. John Gruden, and he said that they should ban all Thursday night games because these games are terrible. Well, I don't know what tonight's game's going to be like, but the matchup's spectacular. The Broncos and the Chargers, as I was mentioning earlier. And the Chargers are favored by 3, which surprised me a little bit. But then I'm like, they got a pretty good team, too. 902-518-3033. Come on, let's get him in here. Pot's light. 902-518-3033. Or I could keep on talking, but I do enjoy going back and forth with the viewers. Oh, here we go. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hi, Rod. The donut box, or coffee cup, as you have called it, no more in the Hammer. Sad as it is the birthplace of Tim Hortons in Canada in 1964. It is what it is. It's a major shift in sports. I'll tell you why. I don't know. I guess they have another sponsor lined up to name that stadium in Hamilton, but I would think for all of us, it's Tim Hortons Field. It's going to take a long time. The home of the Tiger Cats and Forge FC, the soccer team, getting a new name, basically. What's it been, 10 years? Has it been 10 years? Whatever it is, I love that place. I didn't care for the broadcast sightlines. Maybe we'll save those stories for Football Friday. It's very, very, very high looking down over the field. Wasn't great sightlines. I'd like to talk to the guy that designed that place. But we had some very memorable games. Brandon Bridges' first start. Was it first? No, he started for Montreal before we got him in Sask. Air Canada, Brandon Bridge. But his first start for us was there. And Duron Carter was on that team. We had such a great time. A 2017 Hall of Fame induction for the Canadian Football Hall of Fame was there at Tim Hortons Field. I was there in attendance. I've talked about Mike O'Shea's wonderful speech and G. Roy Simon that night and Joffrey Reynolds. God, it was good. Brian Tauris, Stan Schwartz. They're not closing the stadium. It's just they're changing the name. Don't get too carried away here, Rod. I'm just saying there's a lot of great things have gone on there. NHL had a Heritage Classic there. So, yeah, just changing its name. They're not closing the stadium, Kirk. Chill out. What else we got? Point 5, the struggling Toronto Raptors entertain the Brooklyn Nets in NBA play tonight. Toronto's dropped 5 in a row and sits second last in the Eastern Conference. However, they received promising news yesterday as injured All-Star Scotty Barnes was upgraded to questionable for tonight's game. And point 6, which we're not closing the segment here, but this is the last of my quick six show topics. The Ottawa Senators visit the Calgary Flames in an all-Canadian clash that headlines tonight's NHL schedule. The Sens are riding a 4-game win streak, while the Flames have dropped 4 of their last 6, but they're still in a playoff spot. Elsewhere tonight, the Edmonton Oilers entertain Boston in a rematch of the 1988 and 1990 Stanley Cup final. And the Vancouver Canucks try their luck in Vegas. I scribbled some notes down here. Okay, a couple things. I don't know what they're going to name that stadium in Hamilton. If they don't have a new sponsor, I'd like to see them just keep it as Tim Hortons Field until they find a new one. But look at the bowl games tonight. Actually, there's only one. Tonight's the New Orleans Bowl. Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston State. The alma maters of former riders, Jackie Mitchell of Georgia Southern and Matt Dominguez of Sam Houston State. But they don't have sponsors, a lot of these games. I delved into this last year, what it would cost to sponsor a bowl. The New Orleans Bowl tonight is just in New Orleans. It's in the Caesars Superdome. But last night, the Boca Raton Bowl, when I first got here, they used to call it the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. And I don't know what they paid to sponsor it, but what I do know, the cheapest price tag to sponsor a bowl game in U.S. college football was $250,000. That was the cheapest for one game. Of course, you get all the tickets, you get your name on the field, you get on ESPN, which they did last night. But the bowl game doesn't have a name. It's the Boca Raton Bowl. Roofclaim.com was like, we're out, bro. And the late game last night was the L.A. Bowl, which I can only think, unless it was sponsored by the city of L.A., Los Angeles, the L.A. Bowl didn't have a sponsor either. So there's just, these prices are just going up, 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 up. And I feel like businesses are finally going, we're done. And when will you fans say we're done with the ticket buying? That'll be another watershed day. Because I was considering going up to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I was talking to Serena about it this morning. And Chris from the Bronx, if you're watching, I was going to ask you to go with me. He's my guy. We go to games. But it would have been $87 one way on the Bright Line to Orlando, and then Uber it to Camping World Stadium, plus the tickets to watch the Miami Hurricanes, not the Carolina Hurricanes, in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And then coming back on the Bright Line or staying over, thousands of dollars is what it would have ended up being. And nope. So I'm just saying, some businesses, a lot of businesses, I think, are saying we're done. We're out. This is too much. You're out of control. Brian Ray joins us from Victory TV. If there are Stars fans, including you, Allie, send in your question. We'll be talking about today's anniversary of the Stars trade, Ginla Newendike, and what Brian Ray has for thoughts on that. He's always got good stuff. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, streaming live, and, of course, podcasts, wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues on a Thursday. Oh, yeah. What do we got tonight? 3, 6, 9 NHL games. There were 5 last night. Nick Robertson scored the go-ahead goal and assisted on another against his older brother's team as the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Dallas Stars 5-3. Brien Ray all over it on Dallas Stars television coverage. And he joins us today from the Big D. Hey, Bri. Welcome. I'm going to get to the anniversary of the Ginla-Newendike trade in a second, but last night's game looked like a wild one in your barn. Was it as wild as it looked in the highlights?
Well, first of all, I think Nick Robertson is now 5-0 against his older brother in his career. As a little brother, I can respect the pride he must have having a record like that over the older brother, but I know here in Dallas and for Stars fans, they're not happy to see a record like that. And it was an entertaining game, to say the least. For me, Joseph Woll was the difference, and I think that's interesting from a Maple Leaf perspective because you had the best tandem, and now half that tandem is gone for the next month to month and a half. So Joseph Woll put quite the exclamation point in that game last night. But I think from the Dallas side, they're dealing with a bit of a flu bug that has infiltrated the room, and they've had some bodies in and out, some bodies going up and down. And the first period, Dallas looked really good. They only ended up with 1 goal. They probably could have had 2 or 3. Woll was very good for them. But then it just felt like after that first period is when things started to slowly roll downhill energy-wise for them. They had a push in the third, but it kind of felt like whatever flu bug is going through that locker room, it caught him in the second period. And I know Toronto hasn't been great on the road this year, but you still have Matthews, you still have Marner, you still have Nylander. Nick Robertson had a big night, but it was Nylander that seemed to bust the momentum open for Toronto in that middle frame.
I watched the highlights. Well, I saw Craig Berube say after the game on NHL Network from the scrum that Joseph Woll won him the game, so he admitted that. But they also showed the Robertson's mom in a Stars jersey and a Leafs hat. How much fun are you guys having with that whole, seems like a lot, that whole story?
You know what, I don't want to downplay your question, but this was the 5th meeting. So we've had the Robertson Bowl a handful of times now over the last couple of years here in Dallas to play up. It's always fun. If I remember correctly, I believe Mercedes Robertson, she wears the home team's jersey and the road team's hat when Jason and Nick are playing each other. So when they go to Toronto, she's going to be wearing a Leaf sweater and a Stars hat. I believe that's how she balances it. And it actually works out perfect because with Toronto being in the East and Dallas being in the West, they play an even number of games. It's one home and one away, one game in each team's barn. So if you're a mother of 2 kids playing in the game, it is a perfect 50-50 separation to balance your allegiances between your 2 children. But I can't imagine what that's like for that family every single time those 2 teams play. We were talking about it, Brent Servant and I, last night. I think there's only like 20 sets of brothers in the NHL this season, and we have Brendan Smith and Riley Smith from the New York Rangers coming in here next game. But how do you have that many brothers to end up in the best league in the world? Like, if you think of everything that has to transpire from pure hockey talent plus skills coaching, plus juniors, plus drafting, plus health over the entire career that a hockey player goes through just to get to the NHL, and 2 players from the same family find a way to do that. Like, the odds are pretty spectacular when you break it down that way, to have 2 brothers playing in the NHL like the Robertsons are.
I didn't expect to spend this much time on this topic, but it's kind of fun now that you say it. And,
it is.
Well, with like the Kachucks come to mind as the most famous, but you look at the Harbaughs in the NFL, every league has it. And I think the reason, if I may, it sounds like you're kind of getting over it. You think it's a little old. I think it's because you're 0-5. Let's be honest. That's what it is. You're sick of it.
So we can stay on the brothers topic because it does go in every sport. So we're talking about the Robertsons. That's 2. What is in the water in the Hughes household? Because they have 3. What was in the water in the Stahl household? Because they had 4 or 5, whatever it was. And then even going back further, what was in the water in the Sutter household for the 47 Sutters that played in the NHL, it felt like, during the 80s and 90s?
I know. It's awesome. It's so great. Well, we talk about the mums. Grace Sutter was the mum. Like, I don't know how Grace dealt with that. Such a great
How
lady.
reckless was that household?
Still is. What do you mean was? Still is.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Brian. 29 years ago today, I'm seeing all of the Flames coverage of the Ginla-Nieuwendyk trade, which I get. Franchise great, his numbers up on the rafters. But for the Stars, they would do it again, too, with Nieuwendyk. And I feel like this was the greatest trade, not maybe even in NHL history, all of sports, where both sides came away happy.
I totally agree with you. When we were in the commercial break, I was sitting here trying to think of a hockey trade that paid off equally on both sides. I can't think of one, at least in recent memory. Nashville and Montreal both got a Stanley Cup final out of the Subban and Weber blockbuster. But other than that, I can't think of 2 teams or 2 players in any circumstance where it truly felt like an even payoff. Like, if Calgary got their Stanley Cup over Tampa Bay, then this might truly be the greatest trade in sports history in terms of 1-for-1 and equality. But I really can't think of one. And Jarome Iginla essentially spent his entire career in Calgary. I know he had the tour of duty with a couple other teams at the end, but what he did and where he put himself in that entire city, I can see the coverage today of him being as loud as it is in Calgary. Joe Nieuwendyk came to Dallas, had a really good stretch here in Dallas, but he did move on to other teams. There were other stops, I think, of significance in Joe Nieuwendyk's career. So it's not to discredit or downplay what he did here in Dallas or even to look at him as like a hired gun. He came in for the handful of seasons he was here, was absolutely phenomenal, but then moved on, and you had a few other more mainstays that stuck around or that sort of built themselves, in the years following that. So maybe there's the one slight variation in terms of coverage or celebration, but Yeah, if you're talking at least hockey trades, this has to be top 3 all time for pure payoff on both sides.
Well, and I don't care as much for the Hall of Fame. Sorry to the Hall of Fame, because I know those guys watch. But as long as Theoren Fleury's not in it, I'm not as interested. But I thought Iggy was in, and he might be. I'm looking up Nieuwendyke's Wikipedia. He's not, and I think Joe Nieuwendyk, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Or is it just me? Do I love him too much? Am I a prisoner of the moment in Dallas?
Yeah, we could probably, when we get done talking about Hockey Brothers, we could probably go for another segment on who's a Hall of Famer, who's not a Hall of Famer. Because I think, and this might be just a byproduct of the situation, the bigger the game gets, the longer the game goes, and the deeper history the game builds, you increase your pool of Hall of Very Great compared to the Hall of Fame. And the bigger that pool gets, the wider the argument points get. Now you have to argue era of play, different factors, impact on the game, and it only gets more complicated. The argument will never get simpler for players, whether they should be in, whether they should be out. And we're probably at a point where you could give me 5 stone-cold lock cases for why Joe Nieuwendyke should be in the Hall of Fame, or Theo Fleury or any other player, and I can probably find you 5 comparable players that aren't in the Hall of Fame that also meet that criteria, or I might be able to find 5 other pieces of criteria that aren't Hall of Fame worthy, because it's that nuanced. It feels like I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room. When they have these discussions, I would love to be the fly on that wall.
They'd throw me out of the room because I'd be fighting with everybody. But though both Iggy and Nieuwendyke, neither one are in the Hall of Fame. But Iggy's jersey's in the rafters, and Nieuwendyke's name is in the rafters. His number's not retired, but it's a Forever a Flame thing that they do there. So anyways, I didn't really expect to talk about any of this with you, Brien, but it's a fun day, and it's the anniversary.
This is what we do.
Yeah, exactly. It is, man. Well, keep up the great work. Thanks, as always, for helping me out. And Merry Christmas, brother, to you and yours. And thanks for all you do for us.
Same to you guys and all your listeners. It's always good to talk to you, Rod.
Brien Ray, Dallas Stars television host. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover. Arash Madani from Sportsnet on Hour 2. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live as always, and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Skate into the holiday season with the Stars. Stars on Ice 2024 Holiday Tour. With figure skating icon Elvis Stoico, Olympic medalist Caitlin Osmond, Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Poget, Keegan Messing, Satoko Miyahara, and more. Stars on Ice. Coming to Moose Jaw Event Center December 20th. Unwrap your tickets at starsonice.ca.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Bit of a quickie here. Final segment of hour one. No Moose today. He's driving to Ottawa, but he'll be here for a time tomorrow. And I'll get to a sports update in a second. There's just so much going on. Trust me, we can handle it on our own. The Hall of Fame debate. Trust me, I'm trying to move on, but John in Edmonton writes in, he says, Rod, someone told me that Theo Fleury will never get into the Hall of Fame because of his past, and we should all get over it. But here's the thing about that. It's an issue with me, just like it's an issue with them. And didn't you hear what Elon Musk said? Cancel culture's over, bro. So Theo's been canceled. Cancel culture's over. That's all I'll say. He's a friend. And my point is, there are other halls of fame that don't go by this type of snubs that I can see. The Pro Football Hall of Fame sure as hell doesn't. Look at some of the guys in there. Canadian Football Hall of Fame, pretty damn good too. Yeah, I don't have a lot of issues with what they've done. The Hockey Hall of Fame, I got a lot of issues. And that's just me, so whatever. But I've kind of lost sight of who's in, who's not. Joe Nieuwendyk, Jerome McGinley. Should they be? Probably. Pierre Turgeon? Come on. And some people I've never even heard of are going in because of a movement. That's just wrong. The other Hall of Fames don't do that. Theo's past or not. I mean, look what he's doing now. He's doing a hell of a lot greater things than a lot of the others. Enough. I get it. So I just don't follow what they do. Interesting. Bowl game for the college football fans that have shown up today, or football fans in general. Bowl games last night. UNLV beat Cal 24-13 in the LA Bowl last night with the help of the most perfectly executed fake punt you'll ever see. And here in Boca Raton, Florida, James Madison beat Western Kentucky 27-17 in the Boca Raton Bowl for their first ever bowl win in program history. And Bob Chesney, the coach, he got more camera time than anybody else. Bob Chesney, the coach of James Madison, JMU. And yeah, he probably will be in the NFL one day. He looks like a model for a shampoo company or Universal Gym. Bob Chesney. I was like, does Western Kentucky even have a coach? You keep showing the other guy. Looks good on TV, Rod. Meanwhile, major college football exists in a state of unprecedented evolution as it shifts from an amateurism model to a professional entity. Can you see that I didn't write this? As the expanded playoff arrives this weekend, the sport's chaotic realities are on full display. Numerous players have left playoff-bound teams just days before kickoff due to the timing of the transfer portal. An entire team, the Marshall Thundering Herd, bowed out of a bowl game as a result of so many players transferring out. And a longtime and respected coach, Wake Forest Dave Claassen, abruptly resigned amid issues of this new era of college football. So let's just ignore the problems and cheer for the team. The sports update's brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Red One, starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Chris Evans. Red One in Landmark Cinemas now. Hour 2 coming up. Giddy up right after this brief pause.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I was born to broadcast. So the World Juniors, 2012, I'm calling the national radio feed. I was sitting there in the press box of the Saddle Dome like this, playing Pac-Man on my phone. Ray Ferraro, he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing Pac-Man on my phone." "I just died." And he goes, "Don't you have game prep to get ready for the game or something?" "No, I know the numbers. I know everything about them. Let's get the game going."
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, that's right. Holy smokes. Welcome back to the ERP Show's Hour 2, everybody. I'm just updating the old website, rodpedersen.com. I'm going to tell you something. Leave it to me. The media thing, okay? I can tell you how things have changed and why this is so popular and why viewership has gone up 50% over the last year, because we're not the same show rolling over and over and over again on a loop. There's a lot of breaking news today. And there's no Moose. Let me just put this out there. Moose is not with us today. He is driving to Ottawa. He's meeting Peter Labardius there, and he's going to go to the Team Canada pre-competition games for the World Juniors. And they're part of the news here today as well. So can you hit the quick six show horn, please, guys?
Right on.
Riders welcome new faces to 2025 coaching staff. This is going up to rodpeterson.com right now. I feel like an octopus here right now. 8 arms all over. It's like Tuna when he runs the show, guys. So they hit the quick six show horn. There's breaking news. There's all the rest. This is from an hour ago. Not the Rider news. I'll get to that in a second for the CFL fans. This is the hockey news. Center Braden Yager has been named captain of Canada's team for the upcoming World Junior Hockey Championship. Hockey Canada announced it Thursday morning. Yager will head up the leadership group as captain. The assistant captains, Tanner Molendijk and Calum Ritchie. Braden Yager, a prospect for the Winnipeg Jets, has a goal and 3 assists in 2 games with the Lethbridge Hurricanes after being acquired from the Western Hockey League trade from the Moose Jaw Warriors. That's all we need to know about Braden Yager, other than an NHL scout friend of mine who's probably watching right now because he texted into the show the other day, said he is Nathan McKinnon 2.0. If you remember, I've said that on this show, posted that, got flamed to eternity by all that think they're hockey people. They're not. Media people and bloggers and social media influencers, and just wait. In a few years, I'll be proven right. It's like clockwork. You can set your clock to it. So there's that. I'm not going into the NHL leftovers from last night. We covered it all, other than to say I really enjoyed that chat last hour. I hope you did too. If you were here for it, Brian Ray of Dallas Stars TV, he's their host, talking about the Robertson Bowl. Nick Robertson of the Leafs against Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. Nick prevailed last night. As a matter of fact, scored the winner as the Leafs won in Dallas 5-3. And I don't know, Clark, did you get the sense that Brian Ray's kind of getting tired of the Robertson Bowl? That was the sense that I got. He's kind of over it. I'm like, they're 0-5. No, okay, maybe it was just me. Clark didn't get that sense, he says, the producer Clark. I think these family bowls are fun. I can't get enough of them. The Kachucks, whenever Brady of Ottawa faces Matthew of the Florida Panthers, and Keith's in the crowd, and Grandma's going, when the shenanigans happen out there, that's fun. And the Dickinson thing, I don't ever get enough of that. Maybe because I've known Craig and Dave Dickinson for so long, and Craig Dickinson's going to be on the show tomorrow, the new Calgary Stampeders special teams coach. And Dickie always say, and to me, Craig is Dickie. Dave's, call him whatever you want. To me, Craig is Dickie. He used to always say, Mom and Dad, they can get your signal 6:20 a.m. They sit in the kitchen and they listen to your show. They listen to the games on 6:20 a.m. and it's in Great Falls, Montana. That's Craig. And when the two met and played each other, I always asked Craig, who's Mom and Dad cheering for? I love those stories. And maybe I misheard Brian Ray. I just felt like he was over it. We talked a little bit about Kirk Cousins. And I should tell you, Arash Madani is coming up next. The president of the Kirk Cousins fan club. Sportsnet's Arash Madani is coming up in the next segment to talk about Kirk Cousins' reaction to losing his job as the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Put me with Kirk, and this is as a guy who has no dog in the hunt. I don't care whether the Atlanta Falcons win or lose. I don't understand how you're a game out of the division lead and you're sitting down the guy that you gave all the money to play the rookie. But again, it's an insult to the coaches for me to say that. I have not pored over the film. I watched the Monday night. I didn't think Kirk was that bad. But, I mean, Nick and Jason Robertson's mom cut a quarterback the Atlanta Falcons to a win over Vegas. Let's get real. I don't think he deserved to lose his job. But I'm not really spending much time on worrying about it for him. the guy that's made $294 million in his career. Suffice it to say, when Kirk Cousins said he hasn't forgotten how to play quarterback, he doesn't like this. He seems like a good guy. And he says he'll support the kid. More breaking news. What? Wait a minute. Go back 10 seconds. Michael Penix Jr. said he was informed what he was doing. He got a phone call from the coach, Raheem Morris, to say you're starting this week's game against the New York Giants. Did you hear what he was doing, Clark? He was at Costco eating a hot dog. Now to the breaking news. Point 3, Alec Ayamana is looking to join a select group. The Stanford Cardinal receiver is a finalist for the John Cornish Trophy, presented annually to the top Canadian playing football in the NCAA. Ayamana from Medicine Hat captured the award last year and is looking to join Victoria's Nathan Rourke and Brampton's John Mechie as the only two-time winners. The other finalists are, also announced today, Boise State safety Ty Benefield, Rutgers linebacker Daryl Djabomi, UNLV defensive back Jet Elad, and Indiana quarterback Curtis Rourke, the younger brother of Nathan Rourke, whom, with all apologies to Alec Ayamana and Ty Benefield and all the rest, Curtis Rourke's going to win this thing. There ain't no doubt. The award's going to be handed out Monday. Did I say that? So I was reading a story this morning on Ty Benefield, and he's from Vancouver. His dad's David Benefield, and he basically said, well, this is where I realize we're all getting old. He goes, I didn't see my dad play. I guess he was something. Mr. Furious? He's one of the greatest defenders of all time in CFL history, as far as I'm concerned. Grey Cup winner in 2000 with the BC Lions. We had him for 2 years in Sask in 2004, 2005, and that's where him and I got to be real close. And I dug up a photo today. All right, let me just backtrack. Benefield was great on the field. He was great on television. He's just great. He's great at producing kids. And Boise State, by the way, has a first-round bye in the college football playoff. They'll play the winner of Southern Methodist and Penn State. And he goes, my dad was my biggest cheerleader. He coached him growing up, but he never got to see his dad play. And that's fine. I'm very grateful to have been able to watch my dad play. That was an awesome thing. Clark's kids get to watch him pitch. Do your kids show up and watch you pitch, Clark, or is it just me and Joe that show up and watch you? They have? Okay. That's a nice thing. I was able to do that. Ty Benefield didn't watch his dad. But I remember one night when Benefield was playing D-line, rush end, outside linebacker for Winnipeg. After the game, we all went to the bar. Do they still do that? I'm the rider guy. Benefield, the radio guy. Benefield is a player for Winnipeg. Mr. Furious, by the way. I didn't really know him too well. I just knew him by name. We were standing in line to get into a club in Winnipeg. I can't remember which one it was. Benefield had a toque on. I'll never forget. I was about 3 people behind him, and I said, the Rough Riders don't wait to get into any bars in Regina. How do you think that went over, Clark?
How about that?
Hot damn! Like a fart in church. He just looked at me. You get the inference and the implication. Anyways, we went on to become great friends. And 3 years ago at Super Bowl in Los Angeles, he drove 2 hours to come on our show. We were set up at the Marriott Westin LAX. He drove 2 hours to come on the show for 15 minutes and then stayed and posed for photos, and we had a great time. You know, hey, Mark in Melfort, thank you for the comments. I just looked down for a second. Mark in Melfort says, that's why I love your show, Rod. You don't regurgitate the same thing multiple times during your show. It's one and done. Thank you, Mark. And I know you've mentioned that before. The Beekeeper, that's what Mark does for a living in Melfort. I've been around the block a few times. This is our 1402nd show. Viewership's up 50%. despite contrary opinion, I do know what I'm doing. Jeff, the Stamps fan, has shown up with some CFL talk. Number one, he goes, there are clubs in Winnipeg? Yeah, I've been tossed out of a few. Spent a lot of money at those too, however. Jeff, the Stamps fan, also says, Mike Benavides is the new defensive coordinator in BC. Will you do me a favor and just look up, was he not with BC last year, Benavides? And it's 1:11 Eastern. Do you have a sound effect for that clock?
Beautiful.
See, when Moose is here, I can find all my props while he's talking. It's not a big deal. When it's just me, I got to find him on my own. John Ohm says, I watched the movie Carry On. Thanks for the recommendation, Rod. Yeah, we discovered that on the weekend, starring Jason Bateman. Carry On. Maybe don't watch it if you're planning on flying over the Christmas holidays. But it is a very good show. Can you check on that? Was Benavides? I thought he was with the Lions. And by the way, I was just with Benny at Grey Cup. None of this came up. Okay, John in Edmonton. I guess this wasn't you. Kirk in Toronto wrote this last hour. You're writing now. He says, what do you think the name of the CFL stadium in Hamilton should be called? It's not going to be called Tim Hortons Field anymore. I addressed this last hour. As Mark and Melford very clearly saw, we don't regurgitate the same things. The show's a river. It moves. It flows. So all I'm saying is I don't care. The stadium's not closing down. It's just changing names. So I don't really care what you name it. I hope you keep it Tim Hortons Field until you find a new name. But I don't really care. Sorry. I talked about Thursday Night Football. Denver Broncos at the LA Chargers tonight. Sneaky good game. And two Coach of the Year candidates in the National Football League tonight. Sean Payton for the Denver Broncos, who I really thought should win it. But then we all forget about Jim Harbaugh for whatever reason. And the Chargers are favored by 3. I don't even know who to cheer for in that because I like both coaches, Harbaugh and Sean Payton. By the way, I wrote a few things down. Now might be a good time to get them out. I got my NHL top 5, bottom 5, which we do every week. If you can't wait, go pick up a copy of the South Florida Tribune today because it's in my column, my 10 NHL Things column in the South Florida Tribune that I write every week. It's in there. I'll get to it here in a couple minutes. But just to give you, I want to give you a little idea of the landscape. This will blow everybody's mind because it blew mine 4 years ago when I came here. How the sports landscape is. I was alerted to a clip on social media by the president of the Panthers, Matt Caldwell. The president of the Florida Panthers, he was thanking the Levitard show, Dan Levitard, for mentioning the Panthers. And this was a clip on Levitard's show the other day with Stu Gotts. I know a lot of you have no idea who these people are, but a lot of you do. They were saying how they are finally, because the Panthers won a Stanley Cup, they're paying attention to what the Panthers are doing in the regular season. For the first time in 30 years, they're paying attention to the Panthers' regular season results. And Matt Caldwell, the Panthers president, thanked them for that. That was from Levitard himself, the big cheese, which the translation of that is the bastard. And I love Dan Levitard, I do. And Stu Gotts goes, well, it's not just because the Panthers are winning, but it's because the Dolphins suck and the Heat suck and the Marlins suck. All the other teams suck, so we're paying attention to the Panthers. Gee, thanks. That is the landscape here. Can you imagine? I never would have thought that coming from Canada, but it's what it is. Here's my top 5, bottom 5, read them and weep. Top 5 teams in the National Hockey League right now. Number 1 is the Winnipeg Jets, and that hasn't changed despite their loss in Anaheim last night. Sorry, John. Number 2, the Vegas Golden Knights, because Kelly McCrimmon's in charge, and one day you'll listen to me. There'll always be a contender with Crim in charge. Number 3 is the Washington Capitals. They are the surprise team of the year in the National Hockey League. Bravo, Spencer Carberry. Not even a household name in his own house. Might be coach of the year. Number 4, the Minnesota Wild. Don't know what happened last night when they got blown up by Florida 6-1. But Minnesota's still all that, I believe. 4th overall team in the NHL. And number 5, New Jersey Devils. I guess Jersey Jim was right. All they were missing was a coach and a goalie. They got both, and now they lead, or are at least near the top of the Metropolitan Division. Bottom 5 teams are these. Read them and weep. Number 28, the Anaheim Ducks. Sorry, Brucey. Despite your win last night over Winnipeg, 5th worst. Number 29, the San Jose Sharks. But at least they're not the worst. Number 30, the Nashville Predators. I would have them worse, but they've got too much talent to be in the bottom 2. Number 31, the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's fire the coach. Yeah, like he's the problem. I would have said they're the worst team, but no, the worst team is number 32, the Buffalo Sabres. Worst team and getting worse. That's the top 5, bottom 5. Read them in the South Florida Tribune every Wednesday. We'll be back with Arash Madani right after this. Get your questions and comments in for our good bro from Sportsnet. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live daily, noon to 2, and, of course, podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues on a Thursday. It's Thursday, right? And we're brought to you in part by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information at emjmarketing.com. Very pleased to welcome Sportsnet's Arash Madani. As I said last hour, I always run out of time with Arash. Today we've got way more time, my guy, to cover it all. So where are you at? What are you doing? What's going on? Tell me.
Well, happy holidays, my man, first and foremost.
Happy holidays.
And your crew. We are winding down for the year, doing a couple of year-end things. On the Canadian sports front, just wrapped up the Northern Star Award, Summer McIntosh winning Athlete of the Year. And Rod, I don't know if you saw the story today from the New York Times / The Athletic about what's gone on with the New York Jets. I think there's this kind of notion and belief out there that just because people are in charge, they know what they're doing. And this today was exhibit 67,426 that suggests otherwise, that, according to the report, Woody Johnson nixed a trade with the Broncos for Jerry Jeudy because, now drum roll please, Roddy, this is a new one. Allegedly, Judy's Madden rating wasn't high enough, and so that trade fell through.
According to Woody Johnson's kids, his sons, they're the one, hey, Dad, his rating's not high enough.
And Woody's getting these screenshots from his sons, allegedly, from different social media accounts. They're making decisions off of that. They're super sensitive to what's being said about them on the socials. The kid apparently was handing out a game ball after a win. Like, it's maddening.
So there's number one. Okay. It's top of mind. You know, it's interesting because I was alerted to this in various sources here, but I was listening to Dan Patrick this morning, and Arash, he was like, literally, what do you do if you're a fan of the Jets, or in our case, like my case, the Dallas Cowboys? We know Jerry's the problem. He's not going anywhere, so it's not going to get any better. You as a Vikings fan, I don't know how you feel about their ownership. Maybe you should tell me, you know, what do you do? Yeah, what do you do when your owner's an idiot? I'm not saying that about the Vikings, but some owners are. I saw Tony Khan. Yeah, what do you do?
It's a great question. I mean, you're stuck. I say this kind of in jest, but there's some meaning behind it too. Like, you can change your job, you can change your career, you can change where you live, you can change your hair color, you can change your partner, you can change your gender, but you're stuck with your football team. It's like it's a terminal illness that I've tried, believe me, as a Vikings fan, I've tried. 44 years old, have never seen them in the Super Bowl. And, you know, you're saying to yourself, all right, I'm not going to watch the press conferences on Monday and Wednesday. I'm not going to read the articles. I'm not going to follow what's going on. And then, Roddy, it's kind of like what you're doing right now. Suddenly around noon on Sunday, I'm starting to get the itch. I'm starting to get the shakes. I'm like, I got to watch. They're like, I'm stuck with my guys. This is my team.
Yeah, at least that's the thing with the Cowboys. I can't turn away either, but I'm like, at least we got 5 mantles, trophies on the mantle. But here's one. Rob in Las Vegas is watching. He writes in, he goes, Jets, just end the season. Jets. Yeah, well, your Raiders ain't any great shakes. How about them? We had this poll question yesterday. Who's the biggest dumpster fire? Jets, Giants, Raiders, or Sabres? Vegas ain't doing anything anytime soon. Vegas Raiders.
Like all of the above, you know? And the issue with the Jets, the Giants, and the Raiders is when you kind of look at it from the outside in and the inside out in terms of roster construction, in terms of quarterback, and in at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3, when it comes to ownership, where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Like, where do you see hope? Where do you see growth? The Giants have, drumroll please, no quarterback. I guess they're going to draft one in one of the weaker quarterback draft classes there's going to be in 2025. Who knows what the Raiders will do? The Jets are a grease fire. Yeah, I honestly don't know how they get out of it. And when you have meddling ownership, which, you know, the Hard Knocks offseason showed, and obviously we're seeing it this year with the Jets, and who knows what's happening with Mark Davis and the Raiders. I just don't know how you get out of it.
James Warnicki writes in, he says, Arash, if what you say about the Jets is true, us Jets fans are doomed. I've said we need new ownership. Oh, yeah, it's very evident. But, you know, just to flip this, I told the world that you are the president of the Kirk Cousins fan club. So since you wanted to go down the NFL path here, I'm all for it, dude. How do you feel about him being demoted in Atlanta with them a game behind Tampa for the division lead?
Well, I guess, Roddy, for me, it's just like vindication and validation of what I've said for the last 6 years about what a zero this guy is. And yet again, this season, after getting $100 million guaranteed, he's showing his true colors. Here's somebody who, since the first week of November, has thrown for 1 touchdown and thrown 9 picks. Over a course of 30 days, Homer Simpson threw for more touchdown passes than Kirk Cousins did.
How about that?
It's a winnable division, and Atlanta has decided that on December the 17th, they decided, with the division hanging in the balance, we are better off going with a rookie quarterback who has not taken a meaningful snap in professional football over a dude who's in year 13, over a dude that we gave the bag to, over a dude who has only 1 career playoff, and then you start to see it. You start to see not only is he in physical decline, but never good enough to be a franchise quarterback, always kind of played the business side and the free agency side of it right to get paid. God bless him. He's made us $300 million. But this guy he is the opposite of a winner. So some may call that being a loser. Kirk Cousins.
$294 million, actually. I looked it up. The one thing, dude, see, I could go on with this. You and I should have our own show, bro. Somebody said Michael Penix is, his reputation is that he's unflappable. We've watched Kirk over his career, right? You like that? That he's too volatile, too emotional, and that Penix isn't that. That's part of the reason they're making this change. Like, there's nothing saying this is the right move, by the way.
That, Rod. To me, it's not that. To me, this is a guy who's a turnover machine. This is a guy, when the game is on the line, can't deliver. This is somebody that when the pocket collapses, just is the opposite of unflappable. This is somebody that everything needs to be on schedule for him to execute things. That's not how pro football exists. Michael Penix showed both at Indiana and at Washington that he's able to improvise. He's able to roll with the punches when things go the other way. Look, turnovers are the number one factor in if you win or lose a game is turnovers. And when your turnover to interception ratio is more than 10-1, because we just talked about the picks to touchdowns being 9-1. We haven't even talked about the fumbles yet. It's almost like you can follow the pattern of what Cousins is going to do all the time. And for some reason, for all these years, he's had so many people hoodwinked.
Yeah. Well, then at some point the Falcons need to admit they made a mistake in signing him, which I think they actually kind of have.
Yeah, I think they did by making this move.
Yeah. Here's another one. The same Rob in Las Vegas writes in, and he says, Mark Davis is awful. Tom Brady gives me hope as part owner. No argument here on Mark Davis. If you saw him on Monday Night Football with a haircut that his wife gave him, that she bought a kit from a late night infomercial, and his mum jeans. But do you think they brought in Tom Brady as a means to turn the team into a winner? Like, I hope Rob's right, but I think they brought him in because he's Tom Brady. I don't think they're going to give him any say-so at the ownership table. Do you?
I'm intrigued because, the more you hear about what's going on with the Raiders, it sounds like they don't have a lot of money, like literal cash on hand. Obviously, they get the broadcast money, et cetera. The franchise valuation is terrific. But this is a team that's always spending in and around the cap. It's rare that they restructure deals in the offseason to give guys more signing bonus money and be able to spend more. I just don't know how much money they have. Now, Tom comes in. I think he gives some cachet. He gives some credibility. He brings some money. Maybe around the draft, Rod, he can help out with some quarterback evaluations, maybe something like that. But Tom Brady coming in as a minority owner, hoping he's going to be the knight in shining armor, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't either. And sorry to say, Rob in Vegas, and by the way, I know Rob personally. He came to our Super Bowl event that we held there last year at the Super Bowl. Yeah, they've had 3 GMs in like 5 years. So if you wonder why, it's the most volatile team in the league. Colin in Ottawa, just to switch gears for a second, writes in and he says, do we know any candidates to replace Randy Ambrosie as CFL commissioner? You'd be the guy to ask.
I haven't heard. I haven't actually looked into it. It's a great question. Roddy, I don't know if you've done any digging on it. I honestly don't know what they're looking for. The one thing at Grey Cup week when I talked to a governor, for this governor, their number one priority, as it should be, is somebody who is adept, suave when it comes to media rights, because that's where the money has to be. And after 2027, when this television deal is done, obviously the landscape has changed significantly since the last one. And this is where the money is to be had in live programming, in live sports, for a professional sports league. You look around, every kind of new league that's coming in is getting a broadcast deal, is getting a streaming deal. The CFL needs that. So where are they going to find that? I don't know. Again, that's coming from one governor, that's coming from one team, but that has to be top of mind in whatever it is that they're going to do next.
I've heard 2 names. One, the same you have, Mike Morreale and Neil Lumsden. And Morreale fits all those bills. But again, as he told me, they can call me. And I don't know if they're smart enough to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, one name that I had heard that they reached out to is David Hopkinson. David Hopkinson used to be at MLSE. Then he went to Real Madrid. Then he was running Madison Square Garden and, the Knicks and the Rangers and all of that. And he politely declined and probably wondered, was that a prank? Like, is somebody serious asking me that?
I get it. I know. You got to have some self-awareness, guys. John in Winnipeg, John says, anything Tom touches turns to gold. That is true. That is true. I hope it works out great. But I'm not sure they're smart enough to give him any influence. Okay, Christmas for Arash. What's going on, if I may be so bold? Sticking around? What are you doing?
Yeah, sticking around. Lots of bowls to watch. Lots of NFL to watch. Here's what's amazing, Rod. Like, not that long ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, my Christmas Day routine was wake up, do whatever the Christmas stuff was, and then basically at noon, I had to deal with my mom that, hey, what I want for Christmas is to lay on the couch and watch NBA all day. I think the NFL has just taken over everything, haven't they? And, there used to be kind of an agreement. We wouldn't collide with the World Series. We'd give that Sunday night to the World Series. They don't care anymore. And the NFL is king. The fact that the NFL is playing this Saturday up against the college football playoff is even wild.
It's just been a masterclass in what they've done. The bullies that nobody hates. Everybody hates a bully. I don't hate the NFL. The Canadian of the Year, the John Cornish Trophy winner will be who? The finalists were announced today. Alec Ayamana from Stanford, Ty Benefield from Boise State, Rutgers, Daryl Dijabomi, UNLV's Jet Elad, or Indiana's Curtis Rourke. Is it even a contest?
It's not a contest. It has to be Curtis Rourke. I'm assuming it's going to be unanimous. Here he is taking, Indiana into the college football playoff. The Indiana Hoosiers, one loss this season, only to Ohio State, coming over. And Roddy, let's make a prediction. When do you think we'll see Curtis Rourke in the Canadian Football League? What year would you peg at?
Half past never.
Never, huh? Yeah, I was going to set the year around 2031. See how it goes.
Here's the thing. You worked in pro football. You've been around it. Unless you really, 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 really love it, because a lot of these guys do, but it's hard work. He will have made his millions. It's a different time now. You get those millions in the bank, I think you lose a lot of sizzle, man. I really do think that. It's not like Dan Federkyle or all these guys, and Sam Jagari. It's not that era anymore. You know what I mean?
Except it all depends on the situation in which you land. So if you're a 4th-round pick, 3rd-round pick, the Vikings drafted Jaron Hall in the 5th round. He was gone after a year, and then he ended up on a practice squad. So you get your upfront money after being drafted, you get your rookie salary, and then you're making $190K US. So so much of it depends on who your coach is, how your health is, what the situation you get yourself into, et cetera, et cetera. So you wish the best for Curtis. And look, I think everybody would love to see him in the CFL. But I think if we're really rooting for what's best for Curtis's career, hopefully we don't.
Sir, Merry Christmas. This has been awesome. Thanks for coming on, as always.
To you too, and to your whole crew back there. There's a lot of people behind the glass that nobody sees. Thanks to them, and happy holidays. Always great to see you, Roddy.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. The great Arash Madani, one of the best guys in the business. We'll be right back with a sports update and overtime. Stick around. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpeterson.com, and that includes my 10 Things column. Again, you can sign up today at rodpeterson.com. That's where you get it. The rest of the way, it's just you and me. I'll get to a sports update here in a second. Clark, get ready. You are going to take Darren's spot in the breakaway bet segment for the NHL. So not just yet, just be ready for it. Okay, I want you to think about it. Look at the games. There's no Moose today. He's driving to Ottawa. He's going to the Team Canada pre-tournament games at the World Juniors with Peter Labardius. And here's the thing. I said I could do the show on my own today without Moose. It's like this. I can do it. I'd rather not. I could work out 2 hours a day and eat well. I'd rather not.
How about that?
That's kind of the parallel. I could. I just don't want to. So that's the deal. No Moose today. He's going to chime in tomorrow, which for a quickie, but it'll be a gooder because we've got the college football playoff triple header on Saturday. We got the Indiana Notre Dame game Friday night. Probably play a little NFL Deal or No Deal. It's a real fun time. And as I said last hour, I appreciate you for tuning in because it's a wild time in the world. It's a wild time in sports. I feel like we're in the most competitive business on the planet, the media and specifically sports media. But then I realized, get over it, Rod. You're not that important. I owned a pizza restaurant. The restaurant business is just as hard, but I feel like it's very competitive. Serena's in the fitness industry. That's very competitive. Here, there's a gym on every block. She's a online coach. There's a lot of competition out there, so thanks for choosing us. So here's the sports update. The Ottawa Senators visit the Calgary Flames in an all-Canadian clash that headlines tonight's NHL schedule. Sens riding a 4-game win streak. The Flames have dropped 4 of their last 6. It's the poll question today for EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Check out their roster at emjmarketing.com and look up Joe. Out of these two teams who are currently both in a playoff spot today and both picked to miss the playoffs by donkeys like me, which of them is going to make the playoffs? That's our poll question. Senators, Flames, both, or neither? And leading the way with the poll is neither, which is what I voted for. But number 2 is the Flame. But we got a lot more viewers in Western Canada than Eastern Canada. Elsewhere tonight, the Edmonton Oilers entertain Boston, and the Vancouver Canucks try their luck in Vegas. From the Western Hockey League, Edmonton Oil Kings forward Grayson Sachin has been named WHL Player of the Week. The Florida Panthers prospect led all WHL skaters with 4 goals, 4 assists, and a +7 rating in just 2 games. Meanwhile, Lethbridge Hurricanes goalie Jackson Unger has been named Goalie of the Week. The 19-year-old led all dub targets this week with a perfect 3-0 record and a sparkling 1.00 goals against average and a .950 save percentage. Sports updates for Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They've got it all. Use the promo code RPShow for 15% off at checkout. Go to seatgiant.ca today. So I'll half-heartedly apologize to the people that need to be apologized to in this regard. Greg in Calgary's watching, and he writes, and he says, Joe Nieuwendyk was inducted into the Hall of Fame same year as Doug Gilmour. Also, Iginla is a recent inductee. 6 players from 1989 are in the Hall of Fame. I hope my guy Craig from the Hockey Hall of Fame wasn't watching with what I was saying earlier. But I will say it again. It's just me. Have I been stubborn? I've been accused of it. I don't follow it that much anymore because of the Theo thing. That's it. I'm not paying that much attention. So Nieuwendyk and Iggy are in. When Brian Ray was on with us last hour, I said that I couldn't find where they were. Where would you look up something like that, Greg? Because I looked up their Wikipedia and it didn't say on there. I guess I should go to HockeyDB. That's what I should do. And then I missed this question from Chad in Lethbridge. It was for Arash. He goes, RP and Mr. Madani, what are the Blue Jays brass waiting for? I keep seeing big names drop out of the free agent list and nothing coming out of Toronto. Are they waiting to get lynched? Like, let's go. We need to build a winner while we have who we have on our roster, like Vlad, Gausman, Bo, etc. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think we've all decided that these guys with the Blue Jays kind of don't know what they're doing. I'll speak for myself.
How about that?
Clark, do you feel like they know what they're doing?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we all get sucked in. I don't think they know what they're doing. So my expectations are very low. Chad in Lethbridge, you might want to try that. Overtime when we come back, and Clark and I will play our NHL breakaway bets, and more of your comments. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, we're back, and we've got plenty of time for this segment that we lovingly call Overtime. Do you have a winter birthday in your house? And is the birthday boy or girl obsessed with hockey? With state-of-the-art equipment, spacious shooting lanes, and games for all ages, Overtime Hockey Lanes is the perfect destination for the birthday parties for the hockey obsessed in your house. Check them out. Book your lanes today, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. 902-518-3033 if you want to get your comments in before the show is over here in Overtime. Clark's going to be with me in a second for the breakaway bets. Has somebody taken Jeff the Stamps fan's phone? Can we check on Jeff the Stamps fan? There's some comments coming in that are very not Jeff-like. And it's not the most positive right now. I'll say this. I was having a frustrating morning. I came in here and you all made it all okay. Let's keep it that way. It's been fun. Thanks for allowing us to put our brains on the shelf for a couple hours. That's what I did. I hope you did the same. But John in Edmonton writes in and he says more people in Canada watch the NFL than the CFL. Truth hurts, I guess. I've been alive. We all have. It's happened in our lifetime to see that shift. It's not, that horse is out of the corral. What are you going to do? Jeff the Stamps fan says regarding Curtis Rourke being in the CFL, he says, on the 12th of never, yet some bonehead CFL GM will draft him in the second round. Yeah, I agree. Regarding the Canadian Football League bringing on a streaming partner like Amazon or Netflix in its next deal. Jeff the Stamps fan says, does anyone think Amazon is interested in the CFL? Jeff, this is very pessimistic of you when it comes to the CFL. That's why I'm wondering if you're okay. But he does say life's hard. That's why it's important to take time, relax our minds, and enjoy the holidays. See, that's the thing. People are stressed. People are short-tempered. They're snapping on each other all the time. And for 2 hours, that hasn't happened here. I've enjoyed it. In 6 minutes, I'm going to have to go out this door and not really looking forward to it. I don't know why John in Edmonton says, Serena co-hosts with you. She co-hosts our Cats and Bolts podcast. But here's the thing. She said a bunch of things yesterday that it'll drop very shortly, our Cats and Bolts podcast. But some people got to be behind the scenes look at what we were talking about, and she pissed off a bunch of Panthers fans. They're coming at me, and I'm like, DM her, but stay out of my DMs. She can answer for herself, but the very large possibility is you'll be blocked. Joshua Dorr from here in South Florida writes in. He says, "What's going on, Rod? See you tonight on the Slappers show. Scott needs one of those phone number jingles and a cartoon character. That slaps." The South Florida Tribune Sports Exchange podcast is tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 8:15, I think, actually. I'll be on it with Scotty, the Motor City Badmouth. Rich in Edmonton says, 2-hour-plus commute home last night. I just put tunes on and chilled out. Life needs chill time. Yeah, I could go on about that forever. Maybe tomorrow we'll address that a little more. But did you see the thing that New York Rangers fired a PR staff member because that PR staff member went out for supper with one of the players? Fired the guy or gal. I don't know if it was a male or female. And then the rules got set out to all the staff. You can't be having supper with the players. It's out of control, man. I'm just not interested in wading back into this unless it changes. It might come back, but it's not looking positive that it will. And I wouldn't last 5 minutes. I was told I wasn't allowed to talk to the Rough Rider players by, the regime that's there now. And I'm like, well, tell them that. They're the ones that are coming into my restaurant, calling me, texting me. Can't stop the players from doing this. What if the player invited that PR person out? Nope, you can't. It's just out of control. Let's have some fun, Clark. Come on in, Clark. I'll let you go first for at least the start of this. Breakaway bets. NHL, straight up, no money, sport betting. St. Louis Blues at Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Who do you like? He's taking Tampa. I'm going to take the Blues. Thank you. New Jersey Devils at Columbus Blue Jackets. He's going to be weird and take Columbus. Now, that's an easy one for me. Devils here. Los Angeles Kings at the Philadelphia Flyers. I'll go first and take the Kings. How about you? Same? Are you going to take the Flyers? Okay. Pittsburgh Penguins at the Nashville Predators tonight. What you thinking? Yeah, the toilet bowl, exactly. He's taking the Penguin. I'll take Smashville. Seattle Kraken and the Chicago Blackhawks. Another toilet bowl. What do you like? Saskatchewan's team, the Seattle Kraken. I'll take Chicago. I'm not confident in that, but what the hey. The Boston Bruins at the Edmonton Oilers. If I may go first, I'll take the Oilers. How about you? You going to take the Bruins? Okay. Oh, Ottawa Senators at the Calgary Flames. Battle of two playoff teams as it stands right now. Who do you like? You going to take Sens? They're on a heater. Winners of 4 in a row. I'll take the Flames because they are my Canadian team, I guess, today. Vancouver Canucks at Vegas. It's a Vegas for me, too. It's a Vegas sweep, both of us. And Colorado at San Jose. The two goalies that were swapped will play for their new teams tonight, if that makes a difference in your pick. Colorado at San Jose. He's taking the Avs, as am I. Thanks for playing, Clark. If you win, don't spend it all in one place.
I like it.
And we did it all. A beautiful job of pulling this off without the Moose today. He's on his way to Ottawa, as we've pointed out several times, for World Juniors pre-tournament games. We did it. Together. Teamwork. I hope you had as much fun as we all did. Thanks to Brien Ray. Thanks to Arash Madani. And we'll do it tomorrow with Craig Dickinson, special guest of the Calgary Stampeders coaching staff. And, of course, the usual 5-time Grey Cup champion Jim Barker is going to be with us to preview a huge football weekend. Until then, be good to each other, everybody, but most of all, be good to yourself.
McFly, hello?